Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you guys are at in social media land. I'm Ray Amina. Welcome to Taboo Talk with Ray and Steve. I'm based out of Port Richey, Florida, where it's always, well, not always sunny here. We've had a lot of rain here. And my co host, Mr. Steve Reed, coming from
Good.
an undisclosed outhouse, warehouse, whatever, somewhere in northern Texas. Welcome, Steve.
Oh, Ray, you are pitiful sometimes. So,
I, I,
I'm excited to be doing this with you. I'm
I'm very excited. Unfortunately, I know we had told some of our viewers that we were going to have Mr. Christopher Colin, who's the um, volunteer Trinity Pasco director for Tunnel the Towers. Unfortunately, he is ill and was not able to make it for today's show. So we kind of put together I don't know how you want to call this, Steve,
montage.
a montage of memes that are in the news media, that are on Facebook,
Uh,
Twitter, other social media sites. And we just want to have a little fun with it. So, everybody, it's lighthearted fun. Don't get personal. Don't get butt hurt, whatever. If you want to put our little disclaimer so that we can let our viewers know that this show is about our views. It's an opinion based show. We try to get facts on a lot of stuff, but for the most part, hey, it's your opinion, it's my opinion, and the our viewers can chime in on Facebook. They can get on there and they can express their views as well. Why?
Absolutely.
Because this is still a free country.
For now. Yes, Ray, you say this is our opinions, but the last time I checked, our opinions have been fact. So this is a fact-based program, this episode. But we're going to have some fun today, okay? So what we're going to be doing, we're going to be sharing a lot of different memes, and again, as Ray said, we've gotten them from the internet and so forth, and I don't think any of these things are copyrighted. If they are copyrighted, my apologies up front. You put it on the web, it's public domain now anyway. But, okay, we're going to add some commentary to all of these images and some of the comments that people have been making. And so while Ray and I have been
We can't
practicing,
wait.
we've been practicing some of these things, but most of what we are going to be doing is impromptu. Okay. So again, it is a fact-based program, and as when it comes out of our mouths, obviously it is fact. So, Ray, are you ready to kick this fun thing off?
I am so ready.
All right,
So ready.
here we go. So,
So, of
taboo
course,
talk with Ray and Steve. Okay, obviously fact-based conversation. So here we go. The first one, Ray, when I saw this, let me go back. I got to do one last thing on the screen here. Okay. All right. When I first saw this, I thought to myself, you know what? Facebook, Twitter, Google, Amazon, etc. They are all about these days trying to silence the average American citizen. And this meme really says it all. They're afraid of our voices. They don't want the truth to come out. And when I see this, I'm reminded of an interview that Joe Rogan had with this young man who is the big dog over at Facebook, Mr. Zuckerberg. And Joe Rogan, in conversation with him just 2 or 3 weeks ago, basically, I don't think he was even really, he wasn't being deceptive or anything,
he
but
got him to admit that yes.
exactly, that the FBI went to Facebook executives and said, there's a laptop that's out there. It's really Russian disinformation. So we don't want you to talk about it. Okay. And he admitted that he was limiting the amount of exposure any conversation had about Hunter Biden's laptop, as is called the laptop from hell.
And so much
Twitter.
more is going to be coming out from that.
Well, and I just read this morning that there may be a second laptop that's out there. Absolutely incredible. So
Dun, dun,
Facebook.
dun. You know what? We need sound effects. We got to get a sound effect
We
board.
do. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we'll do. Okay, push the button. Okay, I'll let you be in charge of that. Anyway, but it's all of these kinds of things. So what's happening is the big social media giants are trying to silence people like us. And when they can deplatform the president of the United States, former president,
Right.
us little guys. Anyway, we have
Well, he
no.
never really conceded to
No, he
Biden.
didn't.
So.
That is very true. So he may have a third term. I don't know. Anyway, we'll just leave it at that. So, all right, I'm going to keep going, Ray.
So tyranny requires that the truth be silenced, that real history be erased and rewritten, that speech be restricted, and that individual thought be silenced. You know, this has been happening for so many years in
Yeah.
so many cultures where one faction wins over another one, and they destroy everything that they were about and try to rewrite history. When they were rioting and tearing down statues and tearing down signs, saying that it's racist because this person was a slave owner. My opinion is it should be left up as a reminder to show people how far we have come as a nation.
Yes.
No, we are no longer those people that own slaves. But we do need reminders so that we don't go back there. When you erase the reminders, um, we're actually headed back to dark times.
Yeah, very much so. Ray, you just said no, we are no longer a nation of slaves. I'm going to disagree with you on that in one area. Those
Oh, well,
people,
human trafficking and sex slavery, of course.
Exactly. That's where I was going. But not only that, when you look at those people that have been convinced that the government is their solution, they become slaves to welfare.
That is true. And another point on that is we were working on, under the Trump administration, thriving as a country and bringing factories back to the United States.
Yes.
But because of the Biden policies, everything is going back to overseas, which is, to me, promoting slavery because of the
Yeah.
slave trade they have, working with young people,
Yeah.
doing the bidding for next to nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
So, who are the Democrats for? Who are the Republicans for? Or should I say constitutional conservative Republicans?
Absolutely.
There are some Republicans that are no different than Democrats.
Yeah, absolutely. Ray, we got a lot to cover. Here's another one. This is basically what we've just been talking about. I've read history books, and a lot of history books, and one thing I've learned is the people who fight against free speech are never the good guys.
Nope.
Putin, Mussolini, Castro, Maduro, Mao, exactly. And you look at all of these people that are dictators or heads of socialist countries, which is a dictatorship, and when you really break it down, they do everything they can to repress speech. Ray, did you know that Google in China is heavily restricted? And you may remember decades ago, there was a whole thing about the Tiananmen Square encounter, and there were people that were protesting the communist Chinese government. And there were images that we saw here in the United States that some of the people in China have never seen, and it's people standing in front of tanks about to be run over. But in China, you can't see that.
Well, same thing with North Korea. I
absolutely.
mean,
Yes. Yes. So they are limiting our speech. They're trying to disable our freedoms. But the problem is in those communist countries and socialist countries, and actually most of the world, they don't have free speech the way we supposedly have here in the United
What's one
States.
of the first things that they started controlling in those countries?
Well, Ray, it's actually the second thing.
Well, it's one of the first things is the education system because they
Well,
were indoctrinating or brainwashing the kids
yes,
into thinking and believing a certain way.
right,
And that's happening here in the United States, which is
absolutely.
why we're there's so many things that are going on in each state
Yep,
dealing with school
very true,
boards.
very true.
And it's is history going to repeat itself? Are
Yeah,
we going down a
it is.
socialist communist road?
Ray, as long as we do have freedom of speech, number one. Number two, as long as we have our freedom to defend ourselves based on the Second Amendment, I think we're safe. Okay. But there are
They're
all kinds
coming
of
after
crazy
that
things.
too.
Yep. Yep. Crazy stuff. All right, let's move on. When
When
you're
you're
Go ahead.
is this me or you?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I've got these nice little glasses on for this reason. When you're watching the news and yet another of your theories comes true, how many of you have served? And I would love to know, those of you that are watching us on Facebook, how many of you have served Facebook jail time for saying something 3 months ago. I have not served Facebook jail as of yet, but I know a lot of my friends that are pretty outspoken have, where I
Yeah.
haven't seen them for amount of time.
Yeah.
How much of this have you seen, Steve?
Well, mine, I haven't officially been put in jail, but I've had a lot of content that has been disabled.
Right.
But I
Yes,
haven't been kicked off, but I've had
that I have also.
a lot of things that I've put out there. Nobody could see them. Okay, speaking of things that people couldn't see, the longer I remain unjabbed, which I am, the more evidence I see supporting my decision, like myocarditis. That's a problem, a heart problem that we are seeing over and over and over in the tens of thousands of people that are in their 20s and 30s.
When you hear about students that are now getting back to doing team sports,
Mhm.
soccer, it's nothing but wind sprints, down and back, down and back, down and back.
Yeah.
Football players wearing all the gear and training in humid, hot weather, whatever, and then they're collapsing on the field
Yeah, it's insane.
because, and then professional athletes as well that were required to get the jab, and now they're having all kinds of health issues.
Yeah. And it's not just students. I mean, military, you got pilots, Air Force pilots that some of them, the smart ones, refuse to take the jab, but there are others that there was a doctor that I heard an interview with, oh, probably about 6 months ago. She was in charge of allowing pilots to fly, and she kept canceling their rights to fly because they had taken the jab and they were having too many side effects. And these are the guys flying the F-18s and F-15s and 16s and 32s and 24s and 95s and whatever the jet is, and they're dying.
This is where we have to say that it's your opinion, not knowing all the types of aircrafts that they fly.
Oh, come on, Ray. Well, I know they're on the drawing board, so
Right. And my personal opinion, they all need to get their jobs back, and they need back pay
oh,
for
absolutely,
not
absolutely,
working. I mean,
yes,
that was ridiculous.
totally.
All of your first responders that were fired because they didn't want the jab or they didn't get the jab, they need to be rehired, and they all need back pay.
Yep. Now here's another one, Ray. Unsolved mysteries.
Uh-huh.
I looked at some of the CDC reporting about a year ago, and it was amazing how many cases of flu there had been reported to the CDC 2 years before, 2019, 18, etc. And it was in the tens of thousands of cases of flu. However, when COVID made its ugly appearance, the flu cases disappeared.
I know. I
Isn't
know.
that amazing how that happened?
And when you thought you had the flu and you went and got a test, all the flu symptoms that you had came up as COVID
Exactly.
positive.
Ray, I just had a doctor's visit yesterday, and no names mentioned. I'm not going to impugn him, but he made a comment. He says, what we're seeing now with all of the symptoms, all the stuff that's going on with those people that are testing positive for COVID, what we are discovering is it looks an awful lot like a cold.
Oh, you got a cold?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, bad cold, but I had a cold last week, 2 weeks ago. So anyway, one of those unsolved mysteries. So Ray,
So
what do we have here?
I tried to follow the science, but it was simply not there. I then followed the money. That's where I found the science. So you look at Moderna, you look at Pfizer, you look at Fauci, you look at all these guys that, they're living pretty nice.
Yeah,
They're lots of money that they made
yep.
and living. I don't think Fauci is going to care if he gets fired or if he retires because he made a lot of money off of this. And I hope to God there's an investigation into him because I think
Absolutely.
it was him and other people that created the coronavirus in China from
Yeah.
some of the experiments that they were doing. And if it comes down that they were kind of a guilty party, they need to and gave out bad information and people lost their lives.
Yeah.
Think about all the people that lost their lives that were in body bags in a truck, air conditioned truck in New York,
Yeah.
because they didn't have anywhere to put them.
Exactly. Exactly. Ray, you say all of the stuff that was done in China. I don't have the
Oh, we're not
specifics.
supposed to say that, are we?
Oh, that's right. That's right. Well, but I'm going to give you another little tidbit. There's actually a biotech lab, a U.S. government biotech lab in North Carolina that one of the reports that I heard said that they were some of the people that initially started working with the coronavirus, and then they transported that virus to Wuhan. I'm sorry, to that other place on the other side of the Pacific, and then
China.
that's where things got really going. But it has its roots here in the United States. Anyway,
Under Fauci.
yes. Okay. Ray, when we talk about the mandates and all of the requirements that the government gave to us, you have to wear a mask, you have to get the jab, you have to, etc. Mandatory does not mean that it's a law. Whether it's the
Right.
government or an airline or whatever the case is, it's a policy. Okay, it is not a law, and it's
So we would have to follow it based on the airlines because it was their policy.
private company. I understand that. I
Right.
understand, but it's not a law. Okay, ordered, requested, ordinance, decree, recommended, compulsory, etc. None of those are laws. So we have to know what our rights are. Do we have to do something?
So if I'm in a public by myself in a public park
Mhm.
by myself, nobody else around me,
Right.
I could have just been walking without a mask.
Oh my gosh, Ray.
Do you know how many masks I've bought that I still have? That it's do I keep them? Do I not keep them? It's there was that joke that masks work if a pair of thick blue jeans can't mask the smell of a fart, then what the heck is a mask gonna do? with droplets covering my face. I mean, if a
Oh,
fart
Ray.
can get through the mask, then I'm sorry. I don't think that mask is going to
Absolutely.
really help. I mean,
All right, Ray. Well, on that, we got to keep moving. But before we go any further,
oh.
I think we need to pause. We need to pay some bills. Ray, why don't you share with us a little bit about what you do with Heroes in Action?
So that fart comment was brought to you by Heroes in Action. Heroes in Action is a nonprofit organization that's dedicated to violence prevention education. I founded that foundation mainly because I was a victim of violence and bullying growing up. I wrote the book Bully, Victim, or Hero as a tool for parents and teachers to use. That's it's pretty much about my life and how I went from being a victim to becoming a bully to now traveling and speaking, teaching people how to be heroes for themselves. I also wrote the children's book series, The Adventures of Moshi the Martian, as a way for parents and teachers to introduce sensitive topics like bullying and dealing with strangers, or if you have a child that's oppositional that doesn't follow directions, a clever way for them to interact with the teacher or parent and come up with critical thinking and problem solving skills to know what to say and what to do when confronted in that. I speak on that in schools. I'm also a speaker for other topics like personal safety for women and workplace violence. Again, everything we do is about teaching people to overcome fears. We have programs for kids, programs for families and their communities, and programs for businesses. Next slide, please. Um, what, uh, what goes with my Mushy the Martian books is also our mascot, which is Mushy the Martian. We go to Comic Con shows. We go to grand openings for businesses. We do birthday parties. So if you're interested in having Mushy come out and be a part of your event, we would love to have Mushy come out. Here's the best way to get a hold of us. That's my direct cell. You can go email me at ray@heroesinactionnow.org. Visit our website. Of course, all of our social media pages. The biggest thing is we're trying to get 4,000 people as a nonprofit to donate $5 a month. That's a tax deductible donation. That's $60 a year, $5 a month, not even the cost of a cup of coffee. If we get 4,000 people to donate 5,000 a month, that covers all of our expenses, all of our speaking fees, everywhere we can go, anywhere in the country, expenses paid or covered, and teach for free. My vision was always to be able to offer our training and offer the information that we provide for people that can't go and pay for lessons. The average cost to go to a karate school to learn self defense or anything is anywhere between $125 to $175 a month. I want that to be a mute point. Everything that we do is free. If we have to go out of town, the only expense that we have now is our travel expenses, but our seminars and our lectures are free. Until we get that 4,000 people that are donating $5 a month, we have to charge for the travel expenses. But once we get to that 4,000 mark, everything is free, including travel. That's my soapbox, people.
Ray, that is a fabulous mission. And my understanding is you don't have to limit it to $5 a month. If you want, if
If
there's
you can
somebody at the
afford to pay 25, 50, $100,
yeah,
then God bless you, and that would help us out greatly. And what that covers is it pays for the T-shirts, it pays for the books, it pays for all the handouts, and it'll pay for our travel expenses to go anywhere in the country. We want to hit all 50 states.
yeah.
We want to come visit you, work with you, speak to you, train you so that you have the tools that you need to know how not to be a victim of any form of bullying or violence.
Ray, noble mission, noble cause. I appreciate it, and I'm happy to be one of the contributors to your program. So it's exciting to be part of your mission. So
Thank
I
you.
love it.
Thank you.
All right. Let's go back to our slides here, and this is where we were leaving off. Canceling student debt is the most absurd thing I've ever heard. Rewarding people who do not honor their financial commitments by taxing the people who do is wrong. This is vote buying at its worst. What do you think about when you think about vote buying?
Oh my gosh. Anything that they can do to appease people to get them to want to vote for them. So if this is going to cancel a whole bunch of debt for your college age kids, who do you think they're going to vote for? If this is going to, everything that they talk about, let's lower. Joe Biden is always talking about we're going to lower prescription drugs costs. So now they're going after the senior citizen votes. Um, Anytime they're constantly race baiting because they're going after the African American or Black community votes.
Mm.
The more you look at how they run, okay.
Sorry.
Go ahead. You can chime in on this one. But, Joe Biden is giving out money left and right, left and right. And a big part of it is he has the people that helped get him elected, that gave him money through donations and contributions. Now he's making it where they're getting what they want. The Green New Deal. There's one meme I think you've got coming up that's going to talk about the railway system.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's coming up next or not,
Yeah, it's
but
coming.
all of that is the unions. Let's get their votes.
Mhm.
Let's give the teachers unions money. Let's get regular unions money. Let's get, they all helped contribute to electing Biden. So now they're getting all this money in return via all of these so-called new laws that are going to help raise money for them to rebuild our economy or rebuild, get us out of this. Help me out here. Depression.
Yeah, well, closing in on it. Yeah. We're definitely still in a recession. There's no question there. But Ray, why is it fair for the government, i.e., American citizens, taxpayers, why is it fair to have taxpayers pick up the student loan costs, but it's not fair for everybody to have free housing or a free Mercedes or a free, whatever?
Well,
What's the
everyone,
difference?
all the illegal aliens that are coming across the border, they're going to get free housing. They're going to get free insurance. They're
Are
going
they
to get
getting
free
mortgages?
education.
Are they getting mortgages though? No, they're not getting
That I don't
mortgages.
know.
No, they're not getting mortgages. Although mortgage requirements are being minimized in a lot of different ways, no down payments, no PMI, et cetera. A lot of the other things going into that mortgage processing.
With the hopes that they become Democrats and become the
Exactly.
voters for that
Exactly.
party.
Yep.
They're buying votes.
Yep, totally. All right, Ray. This is one of the funnier ones that I saw, and I have no clue who the Atlas Society is. But thank you, Atlas Society, for giving us this meme. But you can see the difference here. Capitalism. The guy's got his fishing pole. He's got the line in the water, but the other guy that loves socialism is just fishing out of the bucket that the other guy is filling up. That's socialism. I
So,
can't think of a better way to describe it.
I did not go to college. I've got a high school diploma, and the rest has been all school of hard knocks. And
Mhm.
just my education has been through martial arts, through developing my craft, that I have built what I'm teaching now. So why should I have to pay somebody else's college debts?
Oh, I totally agree.
If you have a blue collar worker that he went through trade school and he paid off all of his or her debts,
Hmm.
why do they have to pay someone else's college debts? You know, if you're going to
Exactly.
be get an elitist degree to be a doctor or lawyer and you pile up that debt, um, but then as a doctor or a lawyer, you're going to be making boatloads of money.
Yeah.
You should be paying off your own debt.
Exactly. But Ray, then you've got the other people that are out there that they got a worthless degree in gender studies or philosophy or underwater basket weaving or whatever, and they have a degree of some sort in those
Mhm.
absolutely ridiculous disciplines. Why should we have to be paying and subsidizing their college expenses? Why don't the universities? I don't know. I don't remember the number. I heard it. It was like an oh my gosh. But schools like Harvard and Yale and Princeton and so forth, Stanford, etc., have endowment funds in the billions of dollars. Why aren't we taking money from their endowment funds to pay off these student loans?
But here's the thing: by paying off the student loans, that's enabling the universities to raise the prices.
Exactly. That's why. That is why. It is absolutely insane. Now, Ray, I don't know if you know the name Thomas Sowell. He's a great economist. He says, I have never understood why it's greed to want to keep the money that I have earned, but not greed when you take somebody else's money. And that's the standard philosophy of liberals, of Democrats, of progressives, whatever you want to call them today. Okay? That's the standard philosophy. Oh, you're not just not being nice. I mean, you're so greedy because you want to keep your money. Yeah, it's my money. I do the
There's
work
a
for it.
there's a story that I heard, or probably off of video off of Facebook. Well, stay on that one for a second on that slide,
Okay.
where it was um, the the universities are indoctrinating the kids into thinking a certain way.
Hmm.
And the way around it is there's this one child that gets straight A's,
Hmm.
honor roll student all the time. And, I said, okay, well, what if we were to take those A's and give it to your friends that don't put in as much time or as effort in there? They're out partying, they're out yucking it up, they're, getting drunk and everything else. So their grades are C's and D's. Why don't we take your A's and give it to them and lift them up? Would that be fair? And the straight A student says, no, I worked hard for that. I go, well, that's capitalism. You have people that work
Exactly.
hard for their money, they become millionaires, and
Yeah.
they usually give back through charity and through other
Yeah.
things. They're painting a picture. The Democrats are painting a picture that Republicans or rich people are greedy,
Yeah.
and that they don't give back. Now, if you were to look at some of the most wealthiest people in the world that give back to charity, that other give back in other ways to help people, or they give back by hiring people and giving them jobs.
Yeah.
Look at that. Oh my
A
gosh.
radical concept.
But by raising taxes and doing everything that's happening right now, they're actually shutting down jobs and making it harder for wealthy people
Yeah.
to help people in need.
Very true. Ray, I heard another story similar to what you described, but a story of a college professor. Don't ask me what school it was. I don't remember the detail, but off the top of my head, college professor that he decided he was going to average grades for everyone. Okay? So the first part of the semester, he had an exam, and those people that got A's, they didn't get to keep their A's. He averaged because there were people that got A's, there were people that failed. He averaged everything out so that everybody got a B. So those people next time around, there were people that, well, if I'm only going to get a B, I'm not going to study as hard. And then you've got those other people that got the C's and D's. So, well, I'm not going to study as hard either if everything's going to be averaged out. So maybe I'll get a B. Well, the next time everybody got C's. And the last time everybody failed the class. That's socialism. That is socialism. They're trying to bring everybody down. There's a philosophy that I know you've heard: a rising tide
Mhm.
raises all boats. Okay.
Right?
but it's got to be a rising tide. Okay, a declining or lowering tide does the same thing. It lowers all boats.
Now, we just got a comment from one of our viewers that she said rural areas are usually conservative and nowhere near that wealthy. Um, versus city living, rural living. Yes, I can see that. I understand that. But um, it's also a mindset in the rural areas. Those are your hardworking people. Those are your farmers. Those are your people that are of the earth. And the city, it's uh, uh, how would you describe a city mindset, Steve?
Urban. Um,
Chicago, New York
y-
City,
y- y- I-
where it's all the yuppity yups.
yeah. See, I'm in a suburb, and we're a lot more conservative in my area. Um, we're very much rugged individualists, and when you get into the rural communities, they're even more individualists than our people in the suburban areas. When you get into urban areas, it's a lot more collective. Everybody's got to work together. Not so much the farther out you go.
Right.
So
You
I
know, it's funny that the Democrats are always saying the Republicans are, giving the wealthy tax breaks, but here the Democrats have been giving the wealthy tax breaks.
absolutely,
They've
absolutely.
been doing nothing but helping, and not everybody is wealthy.
Mhm.
But you can see who they're favoring.
There's no
People
question.
just need to open their eyes.
Yeah, no question. Yeah, speaking of opening their eyes, Dad, when I become a man, I want to be a liberal. Well, you'll have to choose one, son, because you can't be both a man and a liberal.
That's going to piss off some liberals.
Yeah, it probably is, but they probably have man buns and carry a man bag. So
That is
sorry.
true, and probably wear thong underwear. Who knows?
All right, TMI, TMI. Ray, when we were talking about this slide earlier, um, you said that there was one image on here that would likely really tick some people off, and it's the one
well,
right smack
well,
dab in the middle.
in the middle, being a hero, some people are going to think that he was a hero. Um, when you're dealing with somebody that had a criminal record, that just got out of prison, that threatened his ex-girlfriend or ex-wife or whatever, that was pregnant with a baby, and that was using drugs. I run a foundation called Heroes in Action,
Mhm.
and one of the questions I ask when I do my presentations is, what does a hero look like? And go back to all those other
Yep,
images.
yep. Sorry,
Let's
sorry.
what does that hero look like? And to me, a hero that has done half the things that he has on his arrest record, that's not a hero.
Yep,
Um, it's unfortunate of what happened to him
absolutely.
and the police officers that were found guilty. That's the law working.
Yes. Yeah.
You have to let the justice, if you follow the Constitution, follow the law, those are the heroes that are sticking by those
Yeah.
guidelines.
Yeah.
Now, all
Exactly.
these other images that you see here um, it's the hypocrisy,
Yeah.
where they
Totally.
claim to be one thing, but they're not.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly. Exactly. All right, we got to move on, Ray. We're starting to run low on time. So when you're woke, and when you're so woke, this just blew my mind when I read this originally, and I read this months and months ago. Now, this is all about the Washington Redskins. Okay,
mhm.
they changed their name because of the woke white people.
What's
Because
the new name, by the way? I don't remember it.
it's something like the Commandos or the Commanders or something like that. I don't know exactly what it is. So it doesn't matter
Oh,
because I'm not going to follow them because they're a bunch of woke wussies.
well, we can see if our viewers can find that out for
Yeah,
us
that
and
would be
post
nice.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, a Blackfeet chief actually had somebody in his tribe, or was he approved, and then the Blackfeet Nation approved. This is really cool. It's kind of like Aunt Jemima being taken off
Uh-huh.
a pancake box when she was world famous, and she loved
She
having her
was
picture on there.
she was proud
Yes, she
of her
was.
products, and they reduced it to racism.
Oh, totally. Totally. So, but it was by a bunch of white people that were causing the problems. Here's another interesting one for you. 87,000 staff are to be added to the IRS. And here, poetic justice. I heard Senator Ted Cruz from Texas, say something recently in an interview that if the Republicans take over the Senate, one of the things that they are going to be doing is defunding this 87,000 new IRS agents. So we think that
So
Republicans are taking over the House. Same thing with the Senate.
when you look up um, the jobs numbers, and they say, "Oh, Joe Biden has created so many jobs." Yeah, he's created 87,000 jobs
Yeah,
that weren't there. What
yeah,
about the jobs that were lost because of COVID, because of the restrictions that they put on them?
absolutely.
Let's bring
Absolutely.
those restrictions back. This is one of the reasons why I kind of love our viewers. It was the Washington Commanders. So you
Yep.
were right when it was Commanders.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's probably more the Washington Commandos, but anyway,
Yeah.
anyway, we'll just leave it at that. Ray,
This
I,
one, this is one of my favorite memes because it is so. Let me say it. It is so true. If we have 0% inflation, which is what Joe Biden had said just not too long ago, we have 0% inflation. Why do we need an Inflation Reduction Act that he just signed into law?
yep. Well,
Huh.
Ray,
No inflation, but let's sign a law that is inflation all over it to reduce it because they're admitting they have inflation.
yeah,
Hello.
yeah. In fact, a report came out yesterday that the inflation rate is 8.3% over last year. 8.3% is not zero. Okay. And as a result, the stock market had a 12,000 point tumble yesterday.
America. We're only 55 or 54 days away from the elections coming up in
Yes, we can
November.
change it. We can change things.
Wake up, America. Please look at what's happening. Do your own homework, do your own research.
Yeah, exactly. Ray, I need to do another real quick commercial. When we get back, you need to share some of the statistics that you were sharing with me before we came online. So
Absolutely.
I'm going to go through this very quickly. A company called LifeWave that I teamed up with, that I joined their organization about 8 months ago, 9 months ago now. They came up with the technology of a little wafer thin patch. And what this patch does, this is the X39 patch. What it does is it activates my stem cells. So I take the little paper backing off, I stick it on my body, and it's telling my stem cells to go back to work and do what they are supposed to do. Here are just a few of the benefits that you get from this stem cell patch. You're going to have things like rapid pain relief, more mental clarity, more energy and vitality. Wound healing is going to be faster. You're going to reduce inflammation. It's going to help increase collagen in your face and actually help so your face muscles are tightened up, so you're going to have fewer wrinkles as you go through this crazy thing called life. Here are some real quick images of people that have been using the patches. Here's the young man. He was in a skiing accident, and you can see in 5 days you can almost not see the scars and the wounds. Here's a man that had a car accident, and in just over 2 months you can barely see the scars there. Young young teenager, got his finger caught in the door, cut off the tip of his finger. Mom and dad scooped up the finger, took him to the emergency room, and insisted that the doctors in the emergency room sew the fingertip back on. They did. And in just 2 months, he had full use of that fingertip. Once again, I mentioned collagen and tightening up your face muscles and getting rid of wrinkles. Here's a woman who's been using the X39 patches to do exactly that. So if you're dealing with pain, if you're dealing with back pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, hip pain, whatever the case is, reach out. I'd love to share with you some information about the X39 or any of the LifeWave patches. And actually, I can send you some videos that tell a little bit more about how these guys work and more of the results that people are having with the LifeWave patches. So we got to keep going, Ray. We are starting to run low on time. So do me a favor. Here's one of the slides. Oop, I went too fast here. Here's one of the slides that I saw recently. U.S. inflation rate. Now I know the numbers are hard to see. Okay, the pink is during the era of Donald Trump as president. Okay, then you get to last year when Biden took over, so 18, 19 months ago, and you can see where the inflation rate is going. These are the numbers. These are the real live numbers. So which is better, Trump or Biden? Okay. Ray, give us some of those stats that you were
Some
sharing.
of the stats that I've got recently, those of you that have gone grocery shopping, food has gone up by 11.4%. Buying meat has gone up 10.6%. Eggs, 39.8%. Milk, 17%. Energy, 23.8%. Fuel and oil for heating your house, 68.8%. Gasoline has gone up 25.6%. Electricity, 15.8%. Natural gas, 33%. There was somebody on Facebook showed a meme or posted that, yay, gas is now under $3, and they were celebrating that. Under the Trump administration, gas is around $1.68.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one of the things that, because there's an election coming up in November, they're using their emergency gas reserves to lower the cost of gas. So you can say, hey, look, the Biden administration, and you're celebrating gas under $3. People, gas should be under $2.
Yeah,
gas
absolutely.
should be $1.50. This is ridiculous. Don't fall for their trickery or deceivery.
Well, it's not just our oil reserves. It is also going to Saudi Arabia and Venezuela and begging for them to produce more. Now, Ray, I've got to give a disclaimer. Again, we said at the beginning of the show, this is fun. This is lighthearted. This is one that I just saw. This is a photoshopped image, okay? But the funny part about it is here's a dress that the president in name only today, the guy that's in Washington, he found this dress, or his wife found this dress in a closet in Florida.
In Mar-a-Lago. Hey, I wonder if the FBI raid. I don't know.
Ray, this is your world when you talk about self-defense and so forth. Can you explain this one?
So I'm so worried about crime. I asked a friend from Texas, that would be you, what I needed to protect my home. And Steve more or less said, well, I need a 9mm, a couple of clips, and a box of shells.
Oh,
still not sure how this 9mm wrench, some chip clips, and a box of macaroni shells is going to help me. But hey,
mercy. I love it. I love it. Yeah, again,
I mean, we have to laugh at what's going on, but it's sad at what's going on with our economy and with our country. I'll let you read this.
Ray, speaking of sad what's going on, the difference between California and the Titanic is the Titanic had its lights on when it sank. Okay, we got to move along really fast. Here's another interesting one. Currently, think about this, currently 1% of all of the cars in the United States, and this is 250 million cars, I have to assume that's right, only 1% are EV, electric vehicles.
Right.
Yet, these owners are already being told by the governor of California, do not charge your electric cars. Why? Because they're running out of electricity. And that's only 1%. Imagine what
There,
happens in 10 years when they're no longer going to be selling gasoline engines or gasoline powered cars in California.
it's gonna be a nightmare. Where's my car?
I just love this one. You go from the caveman inventing the wheel, and now we're using EV vehicles, and we have to carry our battery pack along with us.
So
Oh man.
there was a video that showed a guy that ran his Tesla ran out of charge,
Yeah.
and somebody came up to him, and he had a gas powered um, charger
Yeah. Generator.
generator in the back of his car, so he can go a little bit further. So it's ridiculous. Just buy a gas powered car.
Uh,
Teslas are nice. I've sat in one. I've taken rides
yeah.
in one, and oh my gosh, they're futuristic vehicles.
Yeah.
But
But maybe instead you buy a hybrid that's a gas engine that has the battery backup. And when you're not using the gas engine, you're using the battery, but you can keep charging and so forth. I mean, it'd be reasonable. So anyway,
I mean, we're not there yet. Why do we have to go to the future now? Why force it now? Let us come up with the technology over time, and when
exactly.
we get it, then that's when we can transition to that. But we don't have it right now. So in
Yeah,
the meantime, quit messing with our cars.
exactly. Exactly. Now, all of this started because Al Gore, 20 years or so ago, started preaching that global warming and so forth, the ice caps are melting. And I thought this was interesting. When Al Gore was born back in 48, is it 48? Yeah, back in 1948, there were 130,000 glaciers, and we've only got 130,000 left. Oh my gosh, what are we going to do?
Wow.
I know. I know.
Breaking news. Hold on, I gotta hold my ear for this one. Breaking news. We need a sound effect board. Batteries don't make electricity. They store electricity made elsewhere, primarily produced by coal,
Oh,
uranium,
mercy.
natural gas, and diesel. Only fractional amounts of electricity are produced by wind, solar, and hybrid. So, your argument that an EV is a zero emissions vehicle is a lie. Back to you, Steve.
Well, and I've heard it said that if you're going to have an EV, that you have to charge it using the sun, the wind, or water power. Okay,
That's
you
how it should
cannot
be.
plug it into the grid. It's not going to work that way. You got to come up with your own power source to charge your batteries. Okay, we're
Good
going
luck
to
with that.
moving on from there. Ray, you mentioned this one earlier. This is an interesting little tidbit, and I learned this before the election 2 years ago, that Warren Buffett owns one of the largest railroad companies. Okay.
Right?
And he has the contracts now to transport oil from Canada along the US that is replacing what would have been going through the Keystone pipeline.
Really?
Yeah, follow the
Tell me
money.
more.
Well, Warren Buffett also gave $58 million to the Biden campaign. Now, he may have given money to the Trump campaign as well. He hedges his bets, okay? But when you stop and think about it, he's making billions of dollars because his railroad is now transporting the oil that would have gone through the safe and secure, totally safe
Pipeline.
pipeline, okay?
Right.
And Biden canceled our pipeline, the Keystone pipeline, but started supporting the Russian pipeline. So here's another scary meme. Oh, Ray, tell us about this.
This is when we go into all electric vehicles, ladies and gentlemen. Breaking news. Yes, ma'am. I realize your house is on fire, but the station is still charging its electric fire engine, so it will not be there for another 2 or 3 hours until it's fully charged.
Maybe, maybe. Speaking of that, I read an article yesterday in Epoch Times. I am giving them credit. I don't remember the author's name, but Epoch Times came out with a great article. And this is about a farmer. I want to say that the farmer was in Iowa, and he has a contract with John Deere to use their equipment, and they use his 3,000-acre farm or farmland spreading across multiple counties, and he uses John Deere equipment. John Deere is telling him they want him to start using EV combines and tractors and trucks and so forth and so on. The only problem is during harvest season, his combines are running 24/7 for as much as 12 to 14 days straight. There is absolutely no way he could harvest all of the crop that he needs to harvest.
And have time to recharge the tractors
And not having the crop spoil in the process, which adds
right,
additional expenses, so forth. So
which means the cost of food goes up even more.
yeah, exactly. You know what, Ray? This is really how this got started. You said this to me recently.
The closer we get to November 8th, the cheaper gas gets.
Yep.
Understand the connection. Yeah, we said that earlier.
Yep.
And this is where everyone needs to wake up and see it's trickery.
Yep.
It's not them doing you a favor.
Yeah, exactly.
Gas should be $1.50 right now. It should not
Yeah,
be where it's at. So
exactly. And history is repeating itself. Imagine
when I saw him give this speech,
no, it's horrible.
I'm like it's like Satan.
Yeah.
It's all the backdrop, the soldiers and everything. It just looked like a dictator to me. It did not look or sound presidential whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that said, when you think about the FBI hiding the information about Hunter Biden's laptop, but yet the FBI raids Donald Trump's home in Florida, we are very close to having a dictatorship right now.
Mm-hmm.
When your hatred is so intense for one man, you start to hate the country. And that's what we are seeing right now in America today. And it's unfortunate. It is so unfortunate. So anyway, Ray, we don't have enough time. We are down to just a couple of minutes left. So I'm going to go through these last couple of slides very quickly. Let's start wrapping things up. There's
Right.
no such thing as your truth. This is the truth. There is the truth, and the rest of it is your opinion. This is commentator Ben Shapiro, and he's spot on. And I'm really thankful that we know what the truth is, and we have been espousing truth during this entire broadcast. So it's fact. It is fact. We know what it is.
So let's talk to our viewers out there. Don't forget, leave comments. Like, share, comment, subscribe to our YouTube page. We would love to get at least 5,000 subscribers on our YouTube page. Next week's show, we've got a guest that's going to be talking about suicide. She had a husband of 30 years that ended up taking his own life and started a foundation. So I'm real interested in seeing what she's doing to help combat people or help educate people more on what to do if you know somebody that might be suicidal. As always, Steve, thanks for being my co-host in crime here, trying to take the woke people and wake them up into seeing what's good and what's bad in our country. Take it away.
Right. Again, our disclaimer, this is an opinion-based program, does not necessarily reflect those thoughts and views of our sponsors and those people that we're affiliated with. So I hope you had a little bit of fun today, because
Oh,
that's
I did.
I did. So, and to our viewers, I hope you had a little bit of fun today as well. That's all the time we've got for today. I hope you have a fabulous day, and don't go woke, because if you do, you'll go broke. Ray, till next time,
We'll
we'll
see
see you,
you.
buddy.
All right.